If I had to have just one pan, it would be my 12-inch traditional skillet. These pans are good for just about anything, whether it's shallow frying, sautéing, stir frying, pan roasting. We've even baked an apple pie in one of these pans. A skillet is basically a frying pan with low flaring sides. This shape helps with evaporation, which is why these pans are so good at searing and browning and reducing pan sauces. We actually prefer a skillet with a traditional rather than a non-stick finish because you really actually want food to stick to the pan. That gives you those nice brown bits that are called fond, and that's the foundation for great flavor. We prefer a light stainless steel pan to other types of pans because you can actually judge the color of the fond and the quality it's going to have. But you don't just want a stainless pan. The best pans also have a layer of aluminum. That's because aluminum is a great conductor of heat, and stainless isn't a very good conductor. A marriage of the two materials makes really the best skillet. It gives you a steady, moderate saute speed, which is what you really want. You don't want to have to be constantly fiddling with the temperature dial or watching your food like a hawk to make sure it doesn't burn. Now, there are two kinds of stainless and aluminum pans. One kind is called fully clad. In these, a core of aluminum is sandwiched between two layers of stainless, and that core extends all the way up to the rim. The other kind is called disc bottom. These literally have a disc stuck to the bottom of a stainless steel pan. The disc has a layer of stainless on the outside and aluminum inside. This style is cheaper to produce. We chose 7 pans ranging in price from $49 to $135. First, we pan-seared steak while watching how the temperature of the pans changed. Some of these pans made terrific steaks, but others, the temperature dropped when we added the meat and didn't recover. That meant the steaks came out kind of rubbery and the pan sauce tasted weak. Another pan got hotter and hotter as we cooked, and the second side of the steak actually burned. That made the pan sauce taste burned as well. Some of the pans were almost too small for a pair of steaks. Even though they're called 12-inch pans, manufacturers measure from rim to rim. The actual cooking surface can be as small as 9 inches. That means food crowds and steams instead of getting a nice brown sear. As we made pan sauce, we found that gently curved sides made it easier to reduce the sauce, swirl in ingredients, and scrape the sides. We made crepes to see how evenly the pans browned and whether it was easy to reach in to flip the crepes. Low flaring sides make it easy to reach under the food with a spatula. We also wanted a pan that would be easy to lift and handle. The next test we did was pan-roasted chicken. You brown chicken pieces on the stovetop, then move them to the oven to finish roasting. Again, you don't want a pan that's small and crowded or so big and heavy that it's hard to maneuver in and out of the oven. Cooking chopped onions was a great way to measure saute speed. Over the same 15 minutes, some pans made beautifully golden, evenly cooked onions. Others had pieces that were both too dark or too light in the same batch. The worst was a pan that burned the onions, even though we kept turning down the heat. We also tested saute speed by placing 6 rings of solder in each pan. This kind of solder melts at exactly 361 degrees. We put the pans on medium heat and timed to see just how long it took for all the rings to melt. Times ranged from just under 3 minutes to just over 6, but our top 2 pans finished at a moderate pace of just over 4 minutes. So what was going on with these pans? Why did some make nice food with little effort and others had us constantly struggling? It came down to the bottom thickness of the pan and its overall construction. The 2 worst offenders were the disc bottom pans, and these had opposite problems. One was mostly stainless steel, which made it sluggish and slow to respond. The other was mostly aluminum, with not much steel to temper the heat, and it just kept getting hotter and hotter and burning our food. Among the clad pans, the thickest pans were the most successful. Now, a kitchen workhorse like your 12-inch skillet is going to see a lot of use. So we wanted to set up 2 abuse tests that would sort of get a sense of how they would hold up. In one, we heated the pans to 500 degrees, then plunged them in ice water to see if they warped or got damaged. They all held up pretty well. Next, we took the pans outside and we whacked them on concrete. An everyday pan gets knocked around quite a bit over the years, so we wanted to see just how toughly constructed these pans are. Some got deeply dented. One disc bottom pan fell completely apart. Our winning pan actually sustained the least damage. So which pan won? 6 years ago, we chose the All-Clad stainless 12-inch fry pan. After going up against 6 new rivals, it's still our top choice. One of the lightest pans in the lineup, it also had nearly 10 inches of cooking space and one of the thickest bottoms. So that made it easier to maneuver and provided steady heat and good even browning. But at $135, this pan is not cheap. Still, the cheapest pans in the lineup performed the worst. This pan is a top performer, and we think it's worth the investment.